Be the Best You Podcast. The sole purpose of this podcast is to teach, inspire, and motivate everyone to be the best versions of themselves. What's going on, everyone? It's your man, Larry Dawson, and we're back for another episode of the Be the Best You Podcast. Check this out, man. If you've taken the time today to listen or watch our podcast, please make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with someone, leave us a comment, maybe tell us a topic you'd like for us to discuss in an upcoming video. But we appreciate your support and thank you again for tuning in. I have the lovely Miss Olgia here today, and tell the audience who you are, what you do, what you have going on, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Olgia. I was born in Venezuela, and I lived abroad for a few years when I was a child. From there, we moved back to Venezuela. I only spoke English and German. That is it. And then I relearned Spanish. Moved to the United States when I was 16 to go to college. A lot of people told me no, and I pushed and perseverance. And, just came here and went to college and so on. My whole entire life I have been an entrepreneur, ever since elementary school. I started businesses when I was in elementary school and learned fast, and I couldn't do that. So they moved to the U.S. and went to college. From there I moved to Washington, D.C. With an idea of opening a marketing and advertising agency. Things happened, and I ended up with a commercial construction company out of everything. So there's a fun story on that. And from there I moved on, and I have made myself into what it is today. Then I do own a full service branding agency as of today, and another business that is called Local Headshots, which is all about photography. And we are opening now actually 3 more businesses as we go along. So that's in a nutshell who I am.
So an off-topic question. The name Olgia, in Spanish, what does that stand for?
It's not a Spanish name. Actually, my grandmother was reading a novel when she was pregnant with my mother. Okay. And the main character had a wonderful, successful life, and she decided to name my mother Olgia, and my mother gave it to me. So it's a combination, what I learned, of a Turkish and a Russian name.
Interesting.
So 2 names put together.
Gotcha. It's pretty cool. I've always been drawn to when people have different names, interesting names. I named my daughter Silver, and people would be like, Silver? No. But I think it's cool when people have different outside the box names. There's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of Tiffany's everywhere.
Yep.
So why not come up with something unique and different and special?
Absolutely. And people, they seem to forget a lot of my name sometimes, and sometimes I'm amazed and everybody remembers my name. And in college they couldn't even pronounce it, so they call me O. And nowadays they call me G. So I have nicknames too.
It's funny how things evolve over time, right?
Oh yeah, and I turn around immediately. If you call me O or G, I'm like, yes.
Or they just call you OG.
OG, there you go.
So you are an entrepreneur, and it was one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on. On this podcast, it's the Be the Best You Podcast, and we discuss a lot of topics from current events to business to family to social issues to fitness to money. But as someone, like you said, that has been a career entrepreneur, has always done your own thing, I wanted to talk to you because there's a lot of people out there that want to do the same thing. And even Bambino that is here with us now filming, we met several years ago, and he was working in the corporate world and was trying to do the transition to being an entrepreneur. And I think he has gotten to where he's successful and happy with where he's at now doing that, and has left the corporate field. And I'm very proud of him and happy for him for what he's been able to do and for following through on his dream. Because I think a lot of times people have ideas that they would like to do stuff like that, but they're either scared, they let fear get in the way, or the speech you heard me give, you heard how I said be careful about who you tell your dreams to or what your plans are to, because people will try to talk you down and talk your dreams down, because they'll put their fear and their limitations on you. So I'm glad that Bambino or my other friends, like even Doug, who separated himself from the Democratic Party 3 years ago and now has his own consulting firm. I feel bad, like when someone, let's just say the scenario he was in, if let's say he would have told someone, hey, I'm going to leave doing data security and I'm going to open my own, videography company and I'm going to do photo booths and drones and I'm going to do 360s, and someone would be like, oh, well, you got a guaranteed paycheck. You might as well just do that on the side. People will play you down like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And put their limitations and their fears on you, and you have to be careful not to let them do that.
Absolutely.
And because life is already tough enough. You're already going to run into obstacles. You're already going to have setbacks and roadblocks. The last thing you need is the people close to you, like trying to taper you down. So as someone that's been in entrepreneurship their whole life, what was it like to never go into that field, to just go straight into entrepreneurship?
One of the main things is to trust yourself. Believe in yourself. That's number one. When you know you want to do something and you have that passion, then it's just you sleep with it, you get up with it, you want to do it. Okay? That's when you know you're in the right path. Then make a plan. Is the plan always going to go straight how it is supposed to be? No, it's not. It's going to go upside down. A lot of people think, hey, I make a plan, I am supposed to be like this, and if I encounter one little problem, oh my God, I turn around and fall down. No, that's part of learning. That's part of what you're supposed to do. And get together with the people that will help you through your journey. Okay? When you trust yourself and you know what you're doing, there's two specific words that I absolutely love. Perseverance. Okay, perseverance. When you try, it's going to help you achieve your goal. And consistency is going to help you maintain that goal and just keep at it better. So if you can master those two things, perseverance, nobody's going to tell me, you will learn throughout from many people talking to you and learning from so many other people who have gone through your journey. It is very important to listen. When I was very young, when I started my construction company, I was just turning 21 years old. Never had done anything in construction. Didn't even know how to put a nail on the wall. I started learning from my workers, from the people that I hire. I started learning from my lawyer. I started learning from other people that were in construction and listening and kind of mastering those strategies that you need to put together in order to be able to develop the ways that you're supposed, the operations of whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't matter what company it is that you're starting. It's the operation. So my mind, I learned a lot from my workers. I even got on roofs and everything. Don't ask me to put a tile down. I still get it crooked. There's an expertise to them for that. But when you're able to put operations together, systems together, in order for your crew to follow them, that's what makes you successful. A manager, a owner of a company, it's not about you telling people what to do. You're learning from everybody around you. Your job is to make it the easiest possible for those people who are with you, being your partners in business. Because I call all my people that work with me, they're my partners. Is to give them the best tools out there so they can do their job properly without any distractions. And that's how I run the companies today. I don't tell people what to do. I hire people that take pride, that love what they're doing, and they're excellent at what they do. All I do is put strategies together for the operations to go smoothly, and we go from there. And it's an easy sale.
One of the key things that you said was that when people run into issues, they want to kind of fold tent, like, oh, there's trouble. But I don't think sometimes people realize that those roadblocks, those detours, are actually pushing you in the right direction sometimes. Sometimes we don't understand a move until we've made a move, and then we gain that knowledge for it. And sometimes we might think that we maybe need to make a left, but actually we need to make a right. Yesterday, a good friend of mine, she's about to open up a daycare business in Lake Wiley, and she's never owned her own business. And since I've been doing this with several different businesses for a long time, I gave her a piece of advice. She was worried that if she didn't put where people could pick up the kids at 5 o'clock, that she would lose business. And I said, you're one of the best people dealing with kids I've ever known in my life. If you offer a good service and your cutoff time is 4 o'clock, people will still come to you. And I said, you need to really think about this. I said, and I'm going to tell you why. I said, I'm going to show you an issue that's going to happen that you're not seeing. Where you live, unfortunately, there's only one way in and one way out. And that road gets absolutely clogged during 5 o'clock traffic. If your cutoff is at 5 p.m., it's not a question of how many or if. Every single day people are going to be late picking up their kids. And it's not even going to be their fault because you can't get in and out of there. You can't even turn in her neighborhood. That whole road right there to get in and out after you go to the bridge in Lake Wiley is just slam packed. So I said you need to have a cutoff time at 4 p.m. That way people can get there and get their kids and get back over that bridge before that 5 o'clock traffic starts.
That's exactly right.
Because once that traffic starts, you're in big trouble. You'll be sitting there until 6 o'clock waiting on people to pick up their kids. So, sometimes we don't see the issues ahead that are coming, and it could be you have a friend like you said, or a friend, like I was to her yesterday, giving her that piece of advice to kind of put people on point, like, hey, you might not see this coming, but,
Well, and entrepreneurs, we like challenge. That's one of the reasons why we become entrepreneurs. Is some people just don't like dealing with the unknown, and they choose other paths, which are perfectly fine too. Entrepreneurs, we like challenges. We like finding the ways. If somebody says no, you say yes, and you find a good way how to make it work. That applies to everybody involved. So, your mind is always going as an entrepreneur. You never stop thinking, and that's why they say, well, when you're on your own business, you work 24/7. That's absolutely right. Is it needed to have balance in life? Absolutely, and you learn that with experience as you go through. When you start being an entrepreneur, and it happened to me, at the beginning, I thought I was invincible. I could work 24 hours a day, with sleep 2 hours a night only. Who cares? Let's go, continue, whatever. Your body catches up with you.
Oh,
Life
yes, it
does. Life catches up with you, and there are other things involved into your life, like your family, your friends, your just very important other things other than the business that also needs to be taken care of, so there needs to be a balance. So as entrepreneurs, we learn with time that even though our mind is thinking about the business, we're here paying attention to what we're supposed to be paying attention to. Don't let them know, but that's how it works. It's what makes us thrive. It's what makes us happy.
There definitely needs to be a healthy balance, especially if you have family. I struggled with that same thing for a while until I got all that figured out, because I have a certain amount of time that I want to spend with, whether it's friendships, whether it's, my relationship with my family, whether it's business, whether it's, doing stuff on a personal level. And I had to figure that fine balance out.
And it's actually good for you.
It is.
Because when you take that away, when you go away and experience other things than other people are experiences, it allows your mind to open up and say, hey, I was so focused on this path, and I wasn't seeing what was happening to the right and what was happening to the left. So when you allow yourself to be in other people's worlds, to try to understand their space, you might find some other stuff that is really, really happy.
I think it's really good advice for people that are listening that probably don't understand that or haven't found that balance yet. How are you doing with that, Bambino?
Yeah, just like anything in life is up and down. So you just have to pick your battles, see what works for you. And then, as she said, you plan, then you execute. Then at the end of the day, the goal is not just about executing, you have to stay consistent, because that's the hardest part. Because things will happen, then, I don't feel like working today, I don't want to edit a photo today, I don't want to do the podcast today. But you need to keep the ball moving, you need to keep the ball rolling, so just gotta get up, get it done.
And another thing is, you have to be ready to have many talks with yourself.
Yeah.
Certain times you need to say, hey, Olgia, hey, Larry, talk to me. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What I shouldn't be doing? And yes, be harsh on yourself. I don't believe in that, pat yourself in the back all the time. No, be harsh on yourself. Recognize what you need to improve and what you don't need to improve. And if it's hard and you have never done it, time to start.
Yeah, it's funny because there is this fine balance. I'm wired to go, right? So sometimes I have to cut my switch off, and I'm like, I need to come down and come back to family life and come back to like Larry the human being, and I know people that are the other way. They need a lot of motivation, a lot of push, a lot of go. And I kind of wonder their mindset sometimes, where I'm trying to come down out of it and balance myself out. They're doing the opposite. They're trying to get themselves up to do it. I don't know. I don't know that experience because that's not me. So I don't know which of the two is better or worse. I'm thankful that I'm wired that way though, because I have my own motivation.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why marketing, advertising, branding, all that exists. When marketing is the studies of the population out there, and you figure out, okay, how do I need to target a certain population, a certain market, for me to sell the product or the services that I give. It's because all of us are so wired differently. And what you say is absolutely truth. Some people need a little more push, some people need a little inspiration, some people need a little pick me up. And some of us entrepreneurs, it's not strange or weird or anything, that from time to time we do need that little encouragement, because there are times that we do encounter a lot of situations, and you say, okay, I'm trying to do everything right. What am I doing wrong? I need to figure it out. Until somebody says, keep doing it. I believe in you, and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. Let's go.
Yeah. Nah, I totally get that. All right, so let's dive into some of these questions. So what made you decide to be an entrepreneur and work for yourself and never take the route of working for someone else?
I love figuring out systems. I love working for myself. I'm the only one to blame if anything goes wrong. Absolutely anything. I'm responsible for myself. I'm responsible for my product. I'm responsible for my services. I'm responsible for my people. And I take it to heart that I have the responsibility. And crazy enough, I love it. It's because I love building those systems.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that since a young age, I personally have always had the mindset that if I'm going to be working and I'm going to be pushing really hard to help someone else succeed, why wouldn't I just put that same energy into helping myself succeed? I read this meme. Well, I don't know if it was a meme, but it was like this little story with a picture. It's probably about 6 years ago when it stuck in my head. And it was this guy who was standing in front of a Lamborghini, and another guy came up to him and he was like, man, that's a really nice new Lamborghini you got there. And the guy looked at him and he said, I tell you what. He said, if you continue to come to work early every day this year and bust your butt and meet all the quotas and do everything you're supposed to, I'll be able to buy a new one of these again at the end of the year. And I was thinking to myself, like, that's so true. Like, people go to work every day and bust their butt to do all this stuff just to make other people wealthy. If you put the same amount of time and effort into yourself, you could be just as successful. And that's not just with one thing. I have this obsession in life to be great at everything. If you've listened to any of my podcasts or been around me a little bit of time, Bambino knows me really well, and this is a fact about me. Like, I won't let any area of my life be slack. Whether it's with my friendships, whether it's the way I drive my car, the way I fold my clothes, the way I cook my food, the way that I am with my wife, my kids, the way that I do this podcast, the way that I run my business. I will not accept not being good at anything. I will not. And so, like, if you have any of that in you, like if you want to be in physically good shape, you need to eat right, and you need to work out. If you want to have a good relationship with your spouse, whether it's a husband or a wife, you need to invest time into them. You need to make them important. You need to have love, and you need to have sacrifice. If you want your kids to be good in this world, don't let screens babysit your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You babysit your kids. You spend time with them. You talk to them. You teach them. You take them places. I have this thing, like when birthdays and Christmases and stuff like that come up, I don't like to buy a bunch of little toys. People are like, oh, I bought this, I bought this, I bought this. I'm like, you know what? I took them to the bowling alley, and I took them to the water, and I took them to the arcade. I took them on vacation. I like to have experiences with them, to teach them, to raise them, for them to live, to them enjoy life. So whatever it is, whether it's entrepreneurship or any aspect of your life, you have to put in time and effort if you want it to be good.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it won't be. Everything that we do is a product of what we put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And even with my friendships, I consider Bambino like a brother. And I've known Bambino for about 4 years now. And I told someone this recently, like, unfortunately, I don't have any family. I don't have a mother, father, cousins, brothers, uncles, sisters, whatever. I don't have any family except, my wife and my kids. And I was telling some of the guys that was here that was working out with me, and I was like, to me, you guys are like my family.
Mm-hmm.
Some family is by birth and some family is by love.
Mm-hmm.
And my family that I've created in the last 8 years since I've been home is by love. And I've invited really good people close to me, and I have like a brothership with quite a few people. And that is important to me. That's another thing in my life that I don't drop the ball on. Like, I really consider these people close friends of mine, like my family, my brother. If they ask me for anything, I will be right there for them. So I just think that entrepreneurship should be like anything else that's important in your life that you care about. You should put in the time and effort to make it good.
Absolutely. Everything you said is right on point. Absolutely right on point.
Well, thank you.
It was funny because when I was in high school, I think I was the only high schooler who used to carry around a schedule with timings.
I bet you got made fun of a little bit for that.
Oh no! I used to carry a schedule and timing. I would have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As a high school kid, but I would carry a schedule around because I had some other goals that I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And that's that mind of an entrepreneur. They told me no. You're not coming to the U.S. I was the only child, the girl, too young, the whole 9 yards. And I said, oh yeah, I'm going. Yep, I'm going to do everything. I figure everything out, how to apply for the universities, to get accepted, all that stuff. And there's, like I said, there's some funny stories in between all that stuff. But what you're saying is completely right. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you gotta try to see all the other sides of you that make you a human, that complete you. And those are, yes, your friends, your family, your pets, your home, your people that you work with. Absolutely, everything you said is right on point.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Great minds think alike, right? So the next question I have for you is, for the people that are watching or listening that are thinking about doing the same thing, what piece of advice would you give them?
Create a plan. Believe in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you you cannot do it. Have those conversations with yourself, and keep that perseverance and consistency. If you remember just those 2 words, people remember just those 2 words, you're going to get it there. You're going to get there. And you're going to be learning every single day. And when you have your downs, you're going to learn from your downs and figure it out. Don't sit and think, oh my God, I'm done. This is it. I don't have any more money to continue. I don't have any business. Well, figure it out. Why is it that you don't have any business? What is it that you're doing that is not allowing you to proceed to become better? Where are you lacking? And like I said, everybody needs to talk to themselves and be truthful about what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how they can improve to become better.
Yeah.
It's every day.
The one thing that, if you're watching or listening, please keep this in mind, guys. You must believe in yourself, and not like a fake believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not selling nobody nothing. We're talking about internally. You must believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself for real, why would you expect other people to believe in you? You must believe in yourself. That is crucial. Person out by their name, but I have a particular friend that has become an entrepreneur, and currently they're not making the type of money they should be, and they're struggling to get by. And I don't want to like really get on them because I like them a lot as a human being, but I will drop nuggets and hints that maybe they should try to do this, or maybe switch some things up and do this, or maybe add this, and they're not doing that. And this isn't the first time they've found themselves in financial trouble. And I think that that person's biggest misstep is that they believe that that's what they're good at, that's what they do, and that the money should come, and during bad times they just have to ride it out. And I say that's not really a good mindset. Now, I'm not saying fold tent and go home. I'm saying continue to push forward in that, but also find other avenues to make money, whether it's staying with that. And if you've been trying 3 different avenues to get money and those 3 avenues have dried up, come up with 3 new avenues to add to that to try to bring in new clients. Mm-hmm. But also on the side, it's okay to have a side hustle or another entrepreneurship that you start. You know, I'm juggling 3 big businesses. And if I am able to juggle 3 big businesses, the least you could do is take on a side hustle to help you through these moments, or at least add those extra 3 avenues to try to bring in new revenue. I don't understand the mindset of I keep trying this way, I keep trying this way, I keep trying this way, it's not working. Well, you need to figure something else out. And so like I try to stay in my lane with that person because I respect that person a lot, but it's hard when you see someone that you like and you care about and they're not where they should be financially, and you know that if they would just open their mind up and change their mindset and their approach, that they could be a lot more successful because they do have talent, they are good at what they do, and they do bring a lot to the table. They just aren't strategizing and going about executing the right way.
There's 2 things about being an entrepreneur, and what you say is completely right. Okay, first one is when you start being an entrepreneur, you're good at something. You said it, right? I'm good at X, Y, and Z. Well, you need to learn about the other things that you're not good at. Not to become an expert, because we cannot be experts on everything. But when you understand what's around you and what makes that business, whether it's accounting or storaging or whatever it is, and it's not a specific thing that you're good at, but the other things that need to make that business, when you start understanding those other things, even though they're uncomfortable, like I hate doing taxes, hate it, but I need to learn how it's done. Do I ever do them? No, I never do my own taxes. I have my accountant to do it, but I need to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. So there's other things that you need to learn.
You know, I self-taught myself how to do taxes, and I just did mine for all my businesses this year for the first time. So for someone out there that's listening, it's like, oh man, you can't. Yeah, you can. Nobody taught me. I literally sat down and taught myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, you can do that. That is no, you know. Yeah. But let's say that you don't want to. Okay, you don't want to do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but you still need to learn exactly what is it that accountant is doing.
Yeah, because even if they're telling you, keep these receipts for this, you know, this is a write-off, this is a business expense. If you bought this and used this for this, it would actually help you in the long run, even though you're seeing that as, whoa, that's a big expense. Well, in the grand scheme of things, that will help you. So, like, yeah, I 100%.
Yeah, understand the why. Why are the other things what they're telling you to do, what your lawyer's telling you, what their accountant is telling you, what the market is telling you, what the advertising is telling you, all that stuff. Learn all that. Yeah. So then you can actually do the strategies that you need in order to become successful. Is it going to, and this is another thing, a lot of people that start businesses, they think, oh, I open the doors to the shop and then that's it, I'm selling everything. No, that's not what's going to happen.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Your family and friends are going to come support you the first month, and then you got to find some real customers.
Exactly. That is exactly right. And I go through these with so many of our clients, you know, and that's the thing. You need to learn, you need to keep improving yourself every single day. And what you said is true. In the meantime, that business is taking off, you need to figure out another source of income. And don't leave that other source of income until your business is truly showing and you feel comfortable enough to say, okay, now I'm going to let that go and then I'm going to go to the next thing. Absolutely, for sure. Because the worst thing is when you get into a situation that you cannot afford, into a situation that you cannot manage. When the worries and the scares and all that takes time in your mind, then when that's it, it's done.
Yeah.
Because you cannot think clearly. So I always tell people, I say, whatever is scaring you, whatever is taking your sleep at night, take it away. The worries are not going to fix anything. No sleeping is not going to fix anything. Being scared is not going to fix anything. So take those things away and put the time and effort to where you're supposed to put them. Whereas I need to think positive. I need to think, that I can do this. And the reason being is not just because I'm saying it, because it doesn't come from the sky, for it to materialize and become true. You have to work, and you have to work hard for it.
I don't even understand the mentality of being scared. I have conversations with my wife sometimes, and we was talking yesterday, and she was saying to me about like how people will look on social media and they'll see someone that's built a certain way, and we was listening to something and they was talking about it, and then we had a conversation about it, and like a guy or a girl might see another guy or girl and be like, oh, I wish I was them, or I wish I was built like that, or if they see some other car or a house or dating someone, they're like, I wish I had that stuff. And I said to her, and I think she already knew this about me, I was like, do you know that I've never done that one time in my life? Not one time. Never thought that, and those thoughts have never even crossed my mind. But I'm weird. I've always been a little different, and some people really like me for that, and some people don't like me for that. I don't understand fear. Fear doesn't make sense to me, and the reason it doesn't make sense to me is because, like, I was a kid and I was hurt really bad, and as a kid I couldn't stop that. But as a man, like, I'm in control of my life. I'm not like. I think fear is a lot of fake stuff that we make up in our head, and I don't think it's really real. Could you have a fear that if you got dropped in the middle of the ocean that you're in a bad spot and a shark might get a hold of you? Yeah. Could you have a fear that, someone is been drinking a lot and then they're in a car and then they could not be paying attention and they could come and hit you? Yeah, I had that happen to me. I got hit head on. I just don't understand walking around life and having fear of like failing at a business, fear of not being good enough, fear like I personally have a hard time understanding that. And if I could give like something out of myself, if we could take something out of ourselves and give it to people, anyone that has fear, that is scared, I would like to give them a piece of what's in me so they don't, because I just don't understand like when people are like, oh, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that. There's a really good friend, I'm not going to call her name out, it's a lady, me and Bambino know her very, very well. And she's extremely scared, she's extremely shy, she's extremely nervous all the time. And I just don't understand living life like that. Like, you're alive, you're blessed, your eyes work, your body works, you don't have any disabilities, you're in good health, you have the ability to do anything and succeed at anything in life. Like, what is the fear? What are you scared of? And even if you fall down, dust yourself back up and go. When you was a kid and you fell off your bike, did you never ride your bike again? No, you got up and rode your bike again. So like, what are you actually scared of? I don't really understand that mentality and that mindset of being scared, and I wish I could give that to everybody so nobody else felt scared or fear of the unknown.
It is fun that you share that, because my whole entire life, my poor mother, she was, what are you going to do next? Because I went for everything. And just a little bit changed when I had my son. When you become a parent, as a mother at least, you want everything to be, cushioned. And I wanted to wrap him around with something that nothing will hurt him, right? As time started, he's 23 now.
Yeah.
And as time, he started growing up and everything, I started learning, that I need to teach him that don't be fearful and think before you do things. Whether I told you don't stick your finger in the socket, and you want to do it, okay, and I'll be right there just to hold him up, but teaching him that for all his years, today, this child makes me proud every day. And it's because, and trust me, I still get scared. Okay, because he's my son.
Yeah.
All right. But like I said, you always want to wrap them around in a bubble. But I'm so sure that he's thinking before he's doing something. Even the times that I'm going, oh God, he's young and stupid, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I know he's thinking, and I know I'm in there in his mind.
Yeah.
Because he has even told me that. You know, he has told me very seldom, you know, not too many times. He has told me, yeah, I was thinking about you when I was doing such and such, you know. And so it's that thing about passing along your learnings. Whatever you learn, you know, passing along to other people. So let's see if they take it, let's see if they don't. Some people are just not wired to do it that way.
The one question I would like to ask everybody out there, that if they are a worrier and they have fear and they let that get the better of them, the one question I would like for them to ask themselves, maybe go look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves this: what has fear ever done good for you? In worrying about something and having fear, has that ever changed anything and changed a scenario for you? I would be willing to bet you every single dollar I have the answer is no. Worrying and fear doesn't make anything go away, it doesn't change anything, and it doesn't make anything better. So if it can't change anything, it can't make anything better, it can't do anything, what's the point of worrying and having fear?
Well, I have also another look on that. Worrying is not good for anything. It's just not going to do anything.
No, I think my grandma killed herself worrying to death.
Now, but fear...
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad, I think, because, you know, I have fear on not succeeding. Yeah. So I'm going to do everything there freaking is, you know, to make it well and succeed.
Yeah.
I have fear on, you know, not responding in a way that I'm supposed to because I've been working on it for my whole entire life. Yeah. If I make a mistake over here, why? You know, but I'm working on it every day. So... There's two type of fears, you know, the ones that don't allow you to move and do anything, and there's the fears and you go, oh no, you're not gonna get me. Yeah, I'm going for it.
That's a motivational fear, and that's a good fear. You know, I have, mine's not based off of fear. When I was younger, I was super poor. We ate out of trash cans and stuff like that. So like, I guess, you know, my mindset is like, boy, you don't ever want to go back to that, do you?
Exactly.
So like, yeah, no, I get that.
So that's a good fear.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good fear. I'm going, oh no, I learned my lesson. I'm not allowing that for me, for the ones I love, and for the ones I'm teaching, and for the ones that I'm talking to, or for the ones that I mentor, or anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely not. You know, you learn from that. And some people, we all of us need to go through that, to see some wrongs, to be able to say, no. That's not coming back into my life, or that I'm not going to allow you that into my life.
Yeah.
You know, so we all need some bad things, I guess, to happen once in a while.
I heard that we learn our most when we fail.
Yes, we do.
All right, so the next question I have for you is, how important is marketing and advertising for a business?
Branding is number one. Your brand is number one. Marketing is the study of the population out there in order to realize how you're going to target that market. Advertising is using all the different avenues available to you to be able to give the information out, or to market it, or to take it out there. Branding is how you capture, that's right, is how you capture and how you motivate, how you trust that brand in order to be able to have a successful marketing and advertising. So however you design or develop your brand is number one. Your brand is all is about you, it's about your brand, it's about your it's about your product, your services. If people trust that, then you do the marketing, which is the study, and the advertising, which is the avenues to take to be able to take it out there.
Obviously, the world has changed a lot over the course of the last 30 years, but my uncle, which was my mother's brother, he became a self-made millionaire being an entrepreneur, and he owned several different businesses, and one of the businesses he owned was called B&P Promotions, and he used to put together these big, massive events. He was famous for putting together like the Rib Fest, the Hunting and Fishing Show, the Women and Kids Show, the Sports Spectacular, and he put these massive events together. And I remember he would tell me, nephew, the most important thing in the world is advertising. Don't forget, advertise, advertise, advertise. You can never advertise enough. Mm-hmm. And even though I was very young, that stuck in my head. And then when I came back as a grown man, I was doing my business. That stuck with me. And I put together my first show. No one helped me. I did it out of the blue. And it was the first annual Wealth and Health Expo in Charlotte. And I remembered that advertising thing that he said to me. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was telling everybody I was going to put this big event together. I was going to have all these sponsors. I was going to have these athletes. I was going to have these actors there. I was going to have all these businesses there. We was going to have top-notch speakers and everything. And people were like, okay, Larry, like, you're in the fitness industry, and we know you do like some motivational speaking, but like, where did you get this idea from? How do you even know how to do this? And like, how do you think you're going to get people there? Mm-hmm. But I did, and the first one I did, I listened to what he said when I was a kid, and I never forgot that. And I did a lot of social media advertising. I did a lot of flyer advertising. I did a lot of radio advertising. We did some TV stuff. And my event was sold out. Mm-hmm. And it was a massive success. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, then everyone was like singing my praises and saying a lot of kind things about me. But it was literally just a strategy that I remember hearing my uncle say when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I just applied that as an adult to the very first event I ever put together. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the TV station, like you can look it up, even to this day, even though it was like 5 years ago, you can look it up online where the TV station came out and interviewed me at the event. You can see like the athletes and celebrities that was there, mm-hmm. all the businesses and everything, and the speakers. But being able to sell that event out and do other events, I don't know if you know this, that, you know, the next year after that was the year that we had the All-Star game in Charlotte, mm-hmm. and I'm the one who brought Floyd Mayweather Jr. to town. Mm-hmm. And when I did that, you know, people were like, how did you do that? Well, I got Lamborghini to be the main sponsor, mm-hmm. and I paid him that way. Mm-hmm. And once he became a part of the event, everybody else wanted to be a part of mm-hmm. it so much that even some other people that I didn't invite, like Cedric the Entertainer, the Migos, other people, they showed up to the event because of him being there. Mm-hmm. The event was sold out, and it was another massive event. But it was like advertising, and Floyd actually, like if you look on my social media, if you scroll back far enough, you can see a video that I had him film for me, mm-hmm. saying, "What's up, Charlotte, North Carolina? I'm coming to this event. I'll be at Victory Level." So that little 60-second video that I was able to put on Instagram and then paid advertise, like mm-hmm. not only was the event sold out, there was a line wrapped around the building trying to get in. Mm-hmm. So advertising is crucial.
Oh, it absolutely is. You know, I can relate to your uncle because I've been in advertising and marketing for over 30 years. I'm not as young as this black hair shows, okay? For over 30 years. Yeah. And when I started the construction company when I was 21 years old, I started with flyers from one thing to the other. But little did I know that I was actually building a brand. The brand was me at the beginning. Yeah, I had a name and everything. I have construction workers and all the stuff and whatever. But it was me, the one who was selling. Mm-hmm. What experience did I have? I had no experience. What was it? It was the presentation. It was the branding. It was, you know, being built around that advertising and marketing is what allowed that advertisement. Mm-hmm. You know, the radio stations, the ads in the newspapers back then, in the old age.
Old school.
Old school, you know. Nowadays we're fortunate enough, some of us don't like us so much, and we have so many avenues. You know, we have social media, we have this, we have podcasts, we have YouTube, we have, I mean, you name it, we have it, right? So for the people who are truly wanting to get out there, it's a competitive world, but this time it's allowing everybody to make it. You want to learn how to do it, you build that brand and you advertise and market like crazy. Absolutely true.
All right, so let's move on to the next question. Let's see if we can get some more golden nuggets from you. What is the best way to use social media as a business tool?
Okay, so social media is fairly new monster, okay, that has been heavily used, 10 years, you know, the most right now. And ever since social media started, a whole culture took over it. It's this new generation that wants to know who are the people behind X, Y, and Z company. They want to know who they are, what they're made of, where they come from. And the social media has allowed for that reality to be available to everybody to see. Back in the old age, we knew about the big, brands. And of course, they were in your face because they had the most money, and they could advertise everywhere. So the little guys didn't have as much opportunity.
Yep.
Nowadays, everything has leveled up. And it's not about how big you are and how much money you are. It's about who you are. So that culture of social media, if you allow people to see the real Jew, to see who is behind that brand, who is behind that market, that company, and you build that trust with your people and follow you, that is the key right there. So if you live by law, let's put it that way, the law of life, and being real from your experiences and sharing them, whatever it is you market or you sell, you're going to be successful. But you have to be a whole person, to be able to do that.
We had a guy, he has a couple million TikTok followers, and I think on YouTube as well. His name is Julius O'Neill. He goes by Mixed Tarzan, if you guys are watching or listening. We had him on here maybe 2 months ago on an interview, and he said something very similar to what you said. And he was basically saying that be true to yourself, be authentic, have a real story, give people a reason to want to be able to support you and what you have going on. If you're not authentic to yourself, why would anyone else want to support that? And he said, I got a question that you should ask yourself. He said, would you support you? Would you support your brand or your cause? And be honest with yourself whether the answer is yes or no. And that should give you an insight to what you're doing and if people will support you. He said, if you just want to be known for selling t-shirts and you just create some t-shirts, But if you have a story, if you say like, I'm someone that's 75 pounds overweight, I'm going to film my weight loss journey, I'm going to get this weight off of me, I'm going to document the whole thing, and you start going through this whole experience on YouTube or Instagram or whatever you do, and you show it, and then you start doing workouts and stuff on there. Normal everyday people that say to themselves, oh man, I've let myself get too far, I can't get back right. They'll see you, they'll see your story is real, they'll see it all documented and be like, hey man, this dude John is really solid. Like, check him out, watch his journey, watch how he lost 10 and then 20 and 30 and 40. So he was basically saying what you're saying, like, be authentic, be real. Make sure there's a reason for people to support you, to follow you, to want to do business with you. And not just someone that's like, I'm going to sell t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, people nowadays, there's a lot of that they're able to find out. There's a lot of information that they can find out, whether you are good with nature or with the animals or with people or with women or with children or whatever it is. There's so much you can learn online nowadays. I mean, all you have to do is just type it and it's there, boom, it happens, So when you're authentic to yourself, and people will read you for real. People will find out if you are not real to what you're saying.
Yep.
So the best thing with social media is use it in a positive way. There's people that tell me, but do I have to tell my whole life? No, you don't. You can keep things for yourself. Your personal life is yours.
We don't need to know what you have for lunch.
No, we don't. Now we do get a lot with that with the influencers. They're doing all this stuff and whatever. But that was a trend, right? And but if it's a business and you're trying to grow and you're starting to keep that business for a very long time, you need to go ahead and just be authentic.
So you've given some really good answers today. I hope that like people that are listening are taking it in, because people pay a lot for business coaching. I've done leadership coaching and I charge quite a bit. So they're getting a lot of knowledge today for free. I appreciate you coming on and answering these questions. The next question I have for you is, we are in a rough patch economically. What's your opinion on that, and when do you see a turnaround?
All right. So going through a rough patch economically, you're always going to go through a rough path of some sort. Okay? Throughout the existence of human nature, there has been those paths. And there's this, like the stock market. Like sometimes it keeps going up, something happens and it goes down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to adjust. There's always opportunities. I don't care what path we're in, there's always some sort of opportunities. Then people need to see. Then people need to be aware of. Then people need to adjust their businesses to fit those opportunities or to survive. Like COVID. The COVID came, there was something horrific. A lot of people went out of business, a lot of people stayed, a lot of people re-strategized what they were doing and they stayed, right? This is not the first time that we're seeing something like this. There has been recessions in the past. And like I said, you have to restructure yourself, your business, your economics, your money, your wallet. And it goes all with development. It just goes with growth. The people who are leading this country are growing as well, doing wrong things and bad things, and we have many different opinions. And it's that thing about you're never going to make everybody happy. So we, as part of this community, also need to become involved in some sort. I'm not saying become a politician, but at least at your level of what you can, if you are in a community, try to help the kids around you. Try to help a young adult. Try to help an adult, if they're going through something that they should be going through. So we need to be part of that solution. All of us need to be part of the solution. Not just say they are doing something wrong with the economy.
Yeah.
We are all part of it.
Since 1900, there's been 16 corrections or recessions, whatever you'd like to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all 16, every single one of them have lasted between 4 to 6 quarters, except for the Great Recession.
Mm-hmm.
So if you study economics and you know the country and you know corrections and recessions, then you know that they usually last 4 to 6 quarters. We are about 3 quarters into this correction, which means at worst case scenario, we have 3 quarters left. So I try to, because I'm kind of nerdy and I study economics on a regular everyday basis. I literally will study and read about economics. I don't think people take enough time to understand economics and the way they work.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have an up time like a year and a half, 2 years ago when everyone was making money and it didn't matter what type of business you had, money was flowing everywhere and money was going crazy. Well, companies that are solid companies, that have a solid base and a solid foundation, when a correction or recession hits, they're okay. Companies that have money flowing in crazy that aren't necessarily a good company, that are over leveraged, when a correction or recession comes in, what the economy does is, what the recession is really a correction. What it does is it resets the system. Mm-hmm. And when it resets the system, anyone that doesn't have cash, anyone that's over leveraged, anyone that is in debt, it kind of shuts them down and eliminates them, and it resets the balance of things and puts things back in order. And it's a rough patch for a year to year and a half. And when that ends, then the light at the end of the tunnel comes back, and then that's when you see the economy start to boom and thrive again. So I try to tell people that because I don't think a lot of people understand that. Mm-hmm. And I listened to Elon Musk recently talking about that, and he gave a really good breakdown. I don't know if guys watching or listening are into any of Elon Musk's stuff, but if you could pull up maybe a YouTube video where he's talking about the economy, the way he breaks it down is a lot more in depth than I just did. I just gave you a very short sample size of the way a correction or recession works. And so I tell my friends and people that are close to me, just because you have something doesn't mean you have to spend it. Like, obviously I have a nice home, I have beach condos, I have a boat, I have nice cars in the driveway, I have nice stuff and everything, but I could buy a lot more things if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. What good is that going to do? Because we need to have money in the bank. We need to have a backup. Mm-hmm. You need to have an emergency fund. You need to have a savings. You need to have a retirement. And I think that we get caught up with keeping up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. And so we buy a lot of stuff that we don't need, and we over leverage ourselves with, whether that's with, okay, well, you know what? Just because I can't afford it, I'm going to go buy another house. Just because I can afford it, I'm going to go buy another car. Just because I can afford it, I'm going to go add this and this and this and this. Which I'm not telling people how to spend their money, but I'm saying if you have, $300,000 coming in a year, but you have 290 going out in a year, what happens if something bad happens? Mm-hmm. Right? So if you have 300 coming out in a year, wouldn't it be smarter to say, if you have 300 coming in a year, wouldn't it be smarter to say, I want to allow myself to go past the 50-point threshold. So if I have 300 coming a year, I'm going to put 150 towards all this stuff, but I'm also going to put 150 to the side. Mm-hmm. So I just think that the way people deal with their economics and their finances are a little backwards sometimes. And then when something like this happens, a correction or a recession, it throws everybody off. And that's why some people sink in those type of situations.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And that is completely true. And that's when, as you live, you learn. And you say, nope, I'm not, somebody has gone through something bad, and that's what I mean about experiences. You go through something, the second time around. If it gets you the second time around, it's because you didn't learn the first time around. You need to be ready. You need to be ready to act and not be afraid. Yeah. When you're ready, you don't have to be afraid. And you can just take the courses that you need to take the steps that you need, and you're going to be just fine. And this thing right now that we're going through is one of them. Yeah. Do we have to pay attention? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I say, all of us have a reason to be paying attention to what's going on. So be responsible and be part of the community.
So before we end this podcast, I like to ask these people this question. This is the Be the Best You podcast. So for anyone that's watching or listening today, if you could give them one piece of motivation or one piece of advice to take away with them, what would that piece of motivation or advice be?
Consistency.
Good. I like that.
Because consistency involves the whole entire thing about trust yourself, work hard, go for it, perseverance. Is all of it in it. You keep consistent on whatever it is that you want to achieve, you're going to get there, one way or another.
I hope y'all heard that. So tell anyone that's watching or listening how they can find you, whether it's a social media handle, a website, an email, hell, a phone number, whatever you'd like to give out to the people to be able to find you.
Okay, so we own a visual branding agency, which is www.visualbrandingagency.com. We also owned Local Headshots, which is www.localheadshots.com. I do have emails for all the companies, but I'm going to give you one. Then it's the one I still love to use. Okay. And people actually laugh about my email. Is Olgia, Olgia, C as in cat, at AOL.com.
Oh, that's old school.
That's my direct email that I'm going to be on it the whole entire time. So those are my emails. We do have Instagram for both companies. We do have Facebook for both companies. And like I said, we have other things coming into play sometime soon with the other 3 businesses that we're starting. Those are fun ones.
Well, it's been my pleasure having you on and interviewing you, and I hope that some people took away some good knowledge of this, because you sure gave them some good knowledge. But thank you again for coming on and doing the interview today. Thank you.
I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
The invitation. I really enjoyed it.
Make sure you guys comment, man. Tell us what you think about this episode, man. Share it to your friends. Get this message out there. If you know some entrepreneurs or some business people that could use this, send this to them. Man, let us know what you feel. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up. Until next time, this has been another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Try until you fly.